Before Russia was an empire, it learned to fear. One man turned faith into fear, power into blood. Whispers of betrayal and death followed him at every step. His enemies vanished in the night, leaving only fear behind. This is the story of Ivan IV, Russia's first Tsar and its darkest ruler. Ivan was born in 1530 into a court ruled by fear. His father died when Ivan was just 3 years old. Power fell into the hands of brutal, ambitious boyars. Chronicles accuse them of beating and starving the young prince. Poison and murder haunted the palace halls. Ivan learned early that trust meant weakness. German and Saxon accounts describe a violent temper forming. Romanian oral tradition speaks of a child haunted by death. Every humiliation carved itself into memory. Terror did not begin with the crown, it began in childhood. At 16, Ivan inherited a throne, but not real power. The boyars ruled the court, treating the young prince as a pawn. German pamphlets accused them of poison and quiet murder. Ivan watched every insult and never forgot one. Court factions turned Moscow into a silent battlefield. Saxon chronicles whisper of secret arrests at night. Disappearances became warnings, not mysteries. Ivan's cruelty became controlled and deliberate. Fear replaced loyalty inside Kremlin walls. By his 20s, Ivan had broken the boyars, or learned how to destroy them. In 1547, Ivan crowned himself Tsar of all Russia. The title meant more than a crown. It meant divine authority. German pamphlets mocked him as arrogant and unnatural. To his subjects, he was God's chosen ruler, or God's punishment. Ivan ruled through scripture, law, and sudden violence. Saxon chronicles speak of secret councils and midnight decrees. Punishment followed rumor faster than truth. Fear replaced tradition inside the royal court. Ivan saw betrayal everywhere, even in loyalty. Russia now had a czar, and terror wore the crown. Ivan believed God himself had chosen him to rule through fear and punishment. He prayed obsessively, fasting, beating his own body into submission. Faith slowly stopped guiding him and started excusing cruelty. German chroniclers accused Ivan of enjoying so-called holy punishment. Executions, he claimed, were not murder, but acts of divine cleansing. Ivan even wrote sermons defending torture as sacred duty. Saints covered his walls, but darker voices filled his thoughts. Confession brought no forgiveness, only deeper suspicion and pain. Religion erased the line between justice and madness. God no longer restrained Ivan. God empowered the monster he became. In 1565, Ivan split Russia in two and legalized terror as state policy. He named his new domain the Oprichnina, answering only to himself. It became Ivan's personal kingdom, ruled entirely through fear. The Oprichniki dressed in black, walking like living omens of death. German observers described them as demons wearing human skin. Nobles, clergy, women, and children all became targets. Confessions were forced under torture. Guilt was always assumed. Ivan watched executions as if they were sacred ceremonies. Entire estates vanished overnight, leaving no record behind. Russia learned obedience not through law, but through blood. In 1570, Ivan publicly declared Novgorod a city of traitors to the crown. He claimed the city had secretly conspired with Poland and with Rome. No evidence was required. Suspicion alone was enough to become law. The Oprichniki entered Novgorod not as guards, but as executioners. For weeks, terror ruled the streets without mercy, restraint, or pause. German chronicles later described mass drownings in frozen rivers. Priests were tortured alongside peasants, merchants, and entire households. Whole families vanished, leaving behind no names, No records, no graves. Novgorod never truly recovered from Ivan's brutal judgment. This was not punishment. This was complete and deliberate erasure. Ivan trusted no one, not his nobles, not his generals, not even his closest advisors. Power at court was decided quietly, often with a cup raised in silence. German and Saxon envoys warned that poison ruled Moscow's politics. Ivan tested loyalty by switching cups, watching servants drink first. Accusations mattered more than proof inside the Kremlin walls. Confessions were dragged out with iron, fire, and fear. Entire noble families disappeared without records or graves. Even loyalty could be read as hidden betrayal. Fear replaced law inside the palace corridors. Ivan ruled alone, crowned by suspicion and surrounded by silence. Ivan married again and again, defying church law and public tradition. His first wife, Anastasia, briefly softened the violence that ruled his heart. Her sudden death shattered Ivan's final emotional restraint. Ivan blamed the boyars, convinced they had murdered her. The marriages that followed brought no peace, only suspicion and exile. Some wives were forced into monasteries, others vanished without record. Domestic life inside the palace collapsed into violence and instability. Ivan's mind swung wildly between devotion and uncontrollable rage. Love no longer restrained the cruelty growing inside him. Madness now ruled openly from the throne of Russia. In 1581, Ivan's rage finally turned inward, toward his own bloodline. His son, Tsarevich Ivan, the heir to Russia, bravely tried to confront him. The blow came suddenly, loud, and unforgiving in the cold stone hall. The future Tsar collapsed onto the cold floor of the Kremlin. Witnesses described a court frozen in terror at the royal chamber. Ivan realized with horror what his hands had done. He begged God and his dying son for mercy and forgiveness. The prince died days later from the grievous wound inflicted by his father. Russia lost its future ruler in a single, devastating moment. Ivan was never whole again after that tragic night. Ivan died in 1584, leaving a kingdom built on fear. Rumors of poison and betrayal followed Ivan even after death. His system of terror survived him, haunting the Kremlin halls. Autocracy became tradition under Ivan's Russian kingship. Fear itself became the instrument of governance in Russia. Later rulers followed Ivan's path of cruelty and control. Violence came to justify authority in every corner of the realm. Ivan became both myth and warning to generations. Russia remembered Ivan in terror through stories, paintings, and whispers. The monster outlived the man, his shadow stretching across centuries. Ivan, Russian king, built a state by teaching his people to fear authority. Fear can build empires, but it always destroys the souls within them. Monsters are not born, they are crowned and obeyed. Power without restraint always turns inward and devours itself. History remembers Ivan, Russian king, not as a ruler, but as a warning.